I want you to imagine this. Now imagine on a Saturday some years ago, this was back in the early 80s. Sit back, relax. It'll take me 7 or 8 minutes to tell the story. It's a wonderful sales story. Don't worry about the workbook. Most of it you can read on your own. If you don't finish every page, we'll do it next time. Life is not a matter of quantity, it's quality that counts. So here's the deal. It was Saturday. I had blue jeans on, t-shirt. Hard to imagine me with t-shirt and blue jeans, isn't it? I drove my car over from High Point, where I live, to a neighboring city called Greensboro, North Carolina. Well, good, then this story is going to mean something to you. I drove into a place called Pickard Imports, a car dealership that sells Mercedes and Volvos. I got out of my car, walked into the showroom. There were 7 salespeople there, all standing by the wall. Nobody bothered to talk to me except this one young salesperson. I could see all the other salespeople thinking to themselves, this young guy can't really figure out a good customer. He's obviously new. He's obviously inexperienced. And they were watching his activity. He came over to me and he said, hello, sir. How may I serve you today? I liked him already because most people say, can I help you? No, do I look like I need help? No, I don't need help, but serving, maybe I need something. I said, oh, well, I'm just looking around. He said, sir, let me just ask you a question. He said, sir, what model Mercedes do you own now? I said, I ain't got one. He said, that's funny because you look like a man who would and should have one. I was falling in love with the guy right there and there. He took 27 minutes to show me every model on the floor, let me kick all the tires I wanted to kick, showed me a 7-minute video, told me why a Mercedes is a car of style. It's not ostentatious like maybe a Rolls Royce might be in the city in which I live, how Mercedes would last forever, how Mercedes would be a great write-off. In 83, 84, we could ride over 7 years and then get another one. And at the end I said, I thank you very much, and I began to leave. He looked at me with pad in one hand and pen in the other and said, sir, may I have your name, please? Wow. A guy with a pad and pen is expecting some stuff. You better give him the stuff. I said, sure, my name is Wayne. And watch to see what he's going to do. A dumb salesperson would say, mister, would you repeat it? I'd say, sure, my name is Wayne. A smart salesperson would say, what? Would you spell it for me, please? I said, sure. I couldn't have said, yeah, it's Q-U-B-E. He would then know that I am a foreigner, right? No. So I said, sure, it's Q-U-B as in boy, E-I. N as in Norman. He put it down. It wasn't but 2 days later he called me up. He said, Mr. Cuban? Gotta tell you, Mr. Cuban, we just got the car you're looking for. Now go back to 83. That was a 450 SEL. He said, metallic blue on the outside, navy blue on the inside. It is a beauty. And he said, Mr. Cobain, or Mr. Cuban, I'm dying to show it to you. I said, dear friend, I'm a very busy man. I travel some 150 days a year around the world. I have no time to really come over and look at a car. He said, Mr. Cuban, just maybe I can bring the car over to you. I said, 3:30 today, I'll be glad to see you, but remember, 3:25, you're going to be 5 minutes too early, and 3:35, you're going to be 5 minutes too late. He said, 3:30 it will be, and by golly, 3:30 it was. And it was obvious to me that his manager did not trust him, because he came right along with him. Showed me the car, let me drive it around the block. I fell in love with this machine, and I wasn't even going through midlife crisis. I took him to my office and I wrote him a check. In '83, that was $42,000. Same car today, $120,000. He picked up the money, he walked out of my office, he went into the lobby of my office. There were 4 secretaries there, strategically located, one in every corner. In a voice everyone could hear, he looked to me, he said, "Mr. Cobain, I admire you." I waved to all my secretaries to stop working, start taking some notes. I said, "Really? Why?" "I got time." He said, "Mr. Cobain, it's not every day I work with a person who's a business person like you. I know what you did today. You did not spend your money. You invested your money in something very worthwhile. I know what you're going to do. You're going to drive that car around. You're going to feel safe. That's number 1. You're going to feel good. That's number 2. You're going to live in style. That's number 3. Oh, Mr. Cobain, I know. You're going to put this car on business. You will depreciate this car over 7 years." "Oh," he said, "what America needs are more refugees like you." I felt like giving the guy a $10,000 tip, you know what I'm saying? I said, "Oh, well, thank you very much. You honor me with your comments. I really appreciate it." He took 2 steps forward. He stopped. He looked back at me. Now everybody is sitting there taking notes. He said, "Mr. Cobain," he said, "Mr. Cobain, you know, when I work with a guy as smart as you, the least I can do is to be totally honest with you." I said, "Hey, I'm into honesty. Honesty, integrity, ethics. You're talking my language. What do you got on your mind?" He said, "Mr. Cobain, I feel badly about this because I really didn't tell you the whole story." I said, "The whole story is beginning to sound like Paul Harvey." I said, "What are you trying to tell me?" He said, "Well, you see," he said, "Mr. Cobain, I don't know how to tell you this, but this car comes in a set." I said, "In a what?" He said, "You heard me correctly. When those German engineers made this machine, they made it with such precision, they never intended for it to be parked in your garage all by its lonely self." I said, "I don't want anyone or anything to be lonely. Now we got a problem." I said, "What are you saying to me?" "Oh," he said, "when they made this car, this 4-door sedan, they made for it a sister car." I said, "A sister car?" He said, "Yeah. They call it the Coup model." Oh, he said, "Mr. Cuban, I want you to imagine this now. Summertime, you're at your place down North Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, driving that baby with no top at all. In the wintertime," he said, "you drive that car with its sturdy metal top, and in the autumn and in the spring, it's beautifully made, gorgeously designed fabric top." I said, "You find me a metallic gray and you just sold another car." And he wet his pants right there in my office. We built a little glass house over the spot there. And we put on it, if you want to be successful, you got to get real and get well, man. Oh, yeah. I said, hey, come back in my office, let's talk. Sat down there with his manager. By the way, this car in '83 cost $46,000, and the darn thing did not have a back seat. So before I hand you this check, got to ask your manager a question. Mr. Manager, when was the last time one of your salesmen, sir, sold 2 cars worth $88,000 in less than 20 minutes? He said, never. I said, it ain't never going to happen again either. Until and unless you teach every one of your salespeople to stop playing God and start being competent. You could not judge a guy with tennis shoes, blue jeans, and a t-shirt. What you got to do, I said, is teach your people how to qualify human beings, because when you least expect it, they'll be the biggest recruit. When you least expect it, they'll be the biggest retail customer. When you least expect it, someone in your downline will wake up and start smelling the roses.